Sir, we are absolutely honored to sit here and have this interview for many, many reasons. First of all, you know, it's an admirable thing when you get nominated for a position that you never campaigned for, you never signed up for. You know what I mean by that?
Yes.
You do?
Yes, I do.
Yeah. Tell me what you know about that state.
First of all, I really never campaigned to come out of prison and actually give back to my community wholeheartedly, knowing that there's no pay scale that can actually compensate me for the work that I do in my community. You know, just like I always say, I've taken so much away from my community in my younger days that it's only quite natural that I give back wholeheartedly. So, you know, the things I do in my community, you know, the only compensation I get is a smile from a kid's face, or a thank you from a senior citizen, or someone I just grew up with just telling me, you know, I know your mother's smiling down on you for the work you're doing in your community.
Speaking of mother, because to my best knowledge, you was raised in a single parent household, as far as I know. But for those who don't know, tell us a little bit about your parents. Tell us your parents' name and tell us just a little bit about your parents.
Well, actually, my mother's name was Margaret Taylor, AKA Miss Mookie.
Yes.
She had boyfriends, and one particular boyfriend I knew, who his name was Joe Black, who was very instrumental in my upbringing. He also had his own family, so you know it was quite astonishing to realize that a man, you know, who's willing to sacrifice, you know, to help a single mother with 4 other kids that wasn't his biologically, but to give back wholeheartedly and to nurture me. And growing up as a youth, I really didn't understand that because he was a disciplinarian. And it took me almost 40 years to realize that this man was a man's man. And so, you know, I took it upon myself when I was released from prison to actually go visit him in a nursing home and sit down, you know, explain to him and tell him, you know, to his face, you know, that, you know, I really love him for what he done. Because, you know, I can say right now today is that, you know, it takes a man's man to actually raise somebody else's kids. And that's what he did for my mom and for me and my sisters. And so to him, you know, I used to go up there and visit him to tell him, you know, that I loved him and I appreciate everything he's done.
Now, you know, I too am from this community, as are many people that you know. And there were a lot of man's men right in this community. And I don't know if you know this, South, and what's your preference? Like, what's your preference for being identified when we relate to you? Because there's Paul, you know, there's Dink, you know, there's South, and then there's the mayor. But what are you most affectionately comfortable with when we relate to you?
I mean, the thing is, you know, I'm affectionate with all the names, you know. Because, you know, I understand when somebody called me Paul, it's probably somebody I went to school with. Somebody called me South, somebody I probably was in prison with. Somebody called me Dink, I know we grew up together.
Yeah.
You know, and the mayor, you know, that just took up a life on his own. So, you know, somebody from Southwest, you know, and they say, okay, they go to mayor of Southwest. So, you know, I take heed to all of them. And, you know, when I hear a young kid, you know, little baby, hey, South, you know, then the parent might say, call him Mr. South. I said, no, I'm okay with that. You know, when a 2 or 3-year-old can call your name and you're in the corner store, so you know you're making a difference in somebody's life.
And we're going to go back to the man's man thing because you are actually one of those man's men, South, because there's a lot of young people, there's a lot of youth who actually look for you, you know, and they don't know. Some of it intentional, some of it unintentional, but they look to you as that figure in this community. Like, some people come in for everything that the rec offers, but a lot of these youth, you know, they come here because they know you here, they know it's going to be open, they know you're going to have some structure, they know you're going to have some discipline, you know, so, you know, that was a rightful description that came from somebody who took that responsibility in your life And as life will have it, now you've taken on that same role. You have siblings?
Yes.
You do?
I have a daughter and a son.
Oh, yeah?
Yes.
And how old are they?
22 and 25.
Any brothers or sisters?
Yes, I have 4 sisters.
Mhm.
No brothers.
Okay. So, in some instance, you know, and I know you mentioned Mr. Black earlier, in some instance in your life, you was kind of the man of the house.
Of course.
Yeah. What are some of your hobbies? Like, what's some of your...
I love traveling. Actually, I just picked up a passion. I like to play. I go to the casino and play roulette. Something I just picked up probably this year. I like to read. Pretty much go to the movies, read books. Just talking to senior citizens. I think that's one of my biggest hobbies. Just learning, you know, from a senior how they grew up. It inspired me, you know, to do more because knowing the struggle that a lot of the seniors been through, you know, helps me to identify. Okay, my struggle wasn't as hard as their struggles back in the 30s, the 40s, and the 50s, and the 60s. And that's one thing that a lot of the young people don't understand, the struggles and the sacrifice that our seniors made, you know, so they can have a more plentiful, comfortable life.
So, I'm looking at this page because some of these inserts, some of this information came from people that's in this community. And what this says right here is, during your tenure as a recreation specialist here at King Greenleaf, you haven't just made sure that we've had activities and programming. You even created, sponsored, supported, coordinated some game-changing initiatives here. For example, the homeless shelter, the men's fellowship, the annual Toys for Tots during the Christmas holiday, the back-to-school supply drive, shopping and field trips for seniors, to the market, to that place you said you started, like having a new passion for the casino, plays, and all kinds of entertainment trips. How will those efforts continue so here forward?
Help with different sponsors, people who I've met in my 12 years of being back in the community. I'm a personal trainer early in the morning, and I have a lot of friends who have disposable income. And so without their fellowship and their understanding of what I do in my community, none of this would be possible. Because it's kind of hard, you know, to get, you know, people you grew up with, people you've been in the sandbox with to understand of donations. And I think we as a people, we have a problem with donating. You know, because we always think there's a hidden agenda behind something. And so I struggled with that early on. But today I don't struggle with it because I know where I can go at, and the people who actually write the checks, they understand what I do for a living. And so it wasn't hard, but I can't say it wasn't easy because where I came from, you know, a lot of people keep shining me in that same old light. But the thing about it is the new friends that I've accumulated over the last 12 years, whatever I say is like it's golden. You know, if Paul say he's gonna do something, it's gonna get done. And so the biggest thing is, you know, people trusting, you know, that my ideas will work. And what I try to explain to, you know, my coworkers or even family members or whatever, when you're dealing with kids, a lot of times we try to think as adults. And so with the Toys for Tots, you know, the different things I do with the kids, I was just thinking when I was 7, 8, 9 years old, you know, when somebody, you know, my whole day might not be going right, and you got this one adult might say, here you go $1, go get you a soda and a honey bun. And my whole life just changed. And so when I can, you know, see the expression on a kid's face, he might be going through something. And I understand what a soda and a honey bun can do for a kid. It can change their whole dynamics on what they was thinking of just before I gave them that $1, or gave them some words of encouragement, you know, or have an event here at the rec center where, you know, when we was kids, how we used to have all you had to do was bring a canned good. See, we forget about all that, and you can go in there and see a band.
Yeah.
So when you go in your mother's house and you pick up the wrong canned good, she gonna tell, oh, put that back. You know, go get that one without the one she got down from the clinic.
Yeah.
You take that one instead of my poking beans, you know? So, you know, it just gives me a sense of hope, you know, that I can give back wholeheartedly. And the kids, the thing about kids is that they speak the truth. They know when you genuinely care about them, and they know when you're using them. And so that's why I have a good rapport with the kids, because they know I'm genuine.
So here in DC, one of the top officials that kind of run the city is the mayor.
Yeah.
Tell us about who your favorite mayor was in your many years in Springfield. Who's been your favorite?
My favorite mayor has been Marion Barry.
And Mayor Barry being your favorite mayor, how has Mayor Barry influenced you? Because you know, also, you have been deemed and designated as the mayor of Southwest.
Yeah.
But in the spirit of Mayor Barry, how has his mayorship influenced your role back in your community in Southwest, and as your role as the mayor of Southwest?
Well, I can remember getting my first job through the mayor's summer youth program. And the mayor was very, you know, he was fighting for the people that was less fortunate. You know, the seniors was behind him 100%. And so when I come down Southwest, I know my seniors gonna be behind me 100%.
Yeah.
You know, and the youth behind me 100%. I mean, I can go around here and galvanize 50 kids, you know, and they gonna be behind South. You know, but you're gonna have your naysayers.
Okay.
But you know, the thing that I take from Marion Barry, you know, just like it wasn't about the money with him. It was about the people. You know, and so that's what I take from his legacy. You know, just giving wholeheartedly from the heart and understanding that you can uplift the people. All they need is a change.
I heard you earlier mention being kind of honored based on one of a time in your life that led you to prison, and to come back and so effectively and so passionately give to this very place. Where actually did you reside in Southwest?
Well, I was born and raised in 1200 Delaware Avenue. And if you remember the movie New Jack City, you know, so whenever I see New Jack City, I look at the buildings and I say, oh, that's 1200 right there. So, you know, it was the place to be, you know, coming up as a kid. And so it was a good experience. And I tell people all the time, I wouldn't want to grow up nowhere else in DC but in Southwest. Because the thing about it is you had the taste of both sides. Because I can walk across the street and I'm in middle class. You know, so having that experience and knowing, you know, the people with money and people without money, you know, but growing up, you know, this is one of the first places that I wanted to buy my house at in Southwest.
It's been a progressive evolution taking place not only in our city but right here in our community. You know, and I'm saying our. Because one of the reasons that continue to attract me to get involved with anything that's going on in the Southwest, of course, is you. But with all the progressive evolution going on, like what encourages you or compels you to kind of stay here and keep doing this very thing that you do for this community?
Somebody have to fight for the less fortunate. We know the developers are coming in, and my thing is I welcome them. And one of the things that the community was pushing for was Build First. And what Build First is doing is trying to find some property within Southwest where they actually can build new houses, new places where the families that's living on K in the Greenleaf Gardens complex, where they can move them right into those new places instead of displacing the family, send them over Northeast, send them over Southeast, send them to these different places. Because we know how that works. You know, then you have a whole nother beef that's transpiring because you have, you know, Greenleaf Gardens moving over in Kenilworth, they moving over here, and then you got a bunch of beef going on. So one of the biggest things was just pushing this Build First initiative. That way the families will stay in place, the kids will still be going to Amadon, Bowen, also going to Jefferson, you know, so a lot of the residents in Southwest are behind the Build First initiative.
Okay, so I don't know, you didn't know this, but we kind of have a phone line hooked up from some ladies who wanted to ask you a different question outside of the realm of this rich history and this, you know, this wonderful position. So, Carla, would you please ask your question for South?
Oh, me? I just wanted to know a little bit about your, growing up as a child in Southwest. You were the only boy, right?
Yes.
Okay, I just want to know, were you a spoiled child? Were you a mama's boy? Or you consider yourself a mama's boy? And do you think you're a ladies' man, or do people consider you a ladies' man?
No, actually, I was pretty laid back. I was an honor roll student. I loved going to school. I really didn't miss school at all because they had the breakfast program, which breakfast was one of my biggest things.
Yeah.
Also, I grew up in a household full of women. I was the only guy there, and I had my reservation about girls growing up because my sister and them, they had little boyfriends or whatever, and they used to tell them they ain't home. They got other little boyfriend in the house or whatever like that. So I had my kind of reservation about women. And actually, I wasn't a ladies' man. I was kind of shy. Me personally, I didn't start getting involved in having, intercourse till I was like 22 years old. It was a great experience, but I'm single right now today because I know in relationships, you have to take on that person's, not only problems, but things that they go through every day. And I'm not at that time in my life right now because I'm still working on myself. It's been 12 years now that I've been home, and in one of the steps, I'm also a recovering addict, and one of the steps is, you take that when you're making changes to amend people that you hurt in your past life, and so I'm still working on that aspect of my life of actually making a commitment to give back to the people who I've harmed. Most importantly is my family. So I know my sisters and them, they really actually enjoying this ride and, getting involved in what I'm doing in the community. Because it was a point in time where, they was getting these phone calls about their brother, this and that. They didn't know where I was going to come home at night. And so it's been a joy, to see the smiles on their faces that their brother finally got it back going, about life. And they don't have to worry as much, but, I still get these phone calls from my little sister who she thinks she's my mom, which is, she got a tracking device on my phone.
Which one is that?
That's Lynette.
Lynette, yeah.
But the thing is that I know it's nothing but love, and, I think more people need sisters, and family members to be, in their life, and knowing that, if all else fails, that they're there for me. They've been there for me from day one. I talked to a lot of guys who's coming home from prisons, and I explained to them, I said, you don't need to be in no relationship right now because you need to get yourself together. And so, I'm still seeking for that one and only one. A lot of my friends ask me when I'm tired or not,
yeah, mine too.
Yeah. And so, but, my sisters have been my rock. They've seen my struggles, and, and I can't say no more about them because they've been there for me from thick to thin. So
you're very close to your sister. You all have a very tight bond.
Yes, we all have, me and my twin sister, who is Paulette, we grew up together. A lot of people didn't think we were twins, but those who went to school with us know that me and Paulette were twins, and me and her like night and day. And me and Lynette are much, we're a little closer, because we've been through the woods together. I can still remember taking her on, as you talking about when I was a kid, I used to steal newspapers. And I used to get her, and she rolling the cart down the little street. And we got a bunch of newspaper. I got her still, help me with my newspaper. I give her a little something. And the thing about it is, even before the boys club became the girls and boys club, it was just the boys club.
Yeah.
So girls couldn't come to the boys club.
Really?
So I'm playing for the boys club, and you know, my little sister, she always wanted to tag along with me. She used to carry my shoulder pads and my helmet. And so it was in 203, and she used to have to stand on the top of the steps and wait for me to come out for practice. So it's been a